Welcome, folks, to Crypto News Global. I'm your host, Nick Toka. On today's show, Michael Saylor signals impending purchase of BTC, and upon its consolidation around 104,000. Also on today's show, will SAB 121 Abolition allow banks to hold Bitcoin? Also, exciting expert Bitcoin price predictions for 2025, and additionally in the Ask AI segment, we're going to compare Chat GPT versus Grok, and we are going to predict the price of XRP. Hopefully it's going to give us an answer for 2025. The markets currently are dumping. We're going to go through our technical analysis and market watch. All this and so much more on today's show. Welcome, folks, to Crypto News Global. I'm your host, Nick Toka. Today is January 26th, 2025, and Bitcoin, she is a dumping right now. A good buy the dip opportunity for everybody. Things were going sideways for a few days up until really this afternoon, and things kind of flipped into the negative recently. We're going to go through our market watch, our Bitcoin technical analysis, and later on we're going to get Grok and Chat GPT to give us a price prediction of XRP later on this year in 2025. Let's get right into it. We have Bitcoin down about 3.5% at 101,200. Ethereum down 5%, 3,100. Solana down 9%, dumping big at $235. XRP down 4.5% at exactly $3. Doge down 7%. In our crypto bubbles outlook, we have Fartcoin, the big winner of the past couple of weeks, is now dumping about 25%. Everything is in the red as we speak. A couple outliers in the green, but pretty much everything in the red. If we zoom out to the weekly, we have about 75% in the red, including the Trump coin down 50%, XCN up 270%, Fartcoin down 51%, Pepe down 16%, WIF down 19%, IOTA down 10%, SUI down 16%. And if we zoom out further, the XCN coin, Onyx coin, up 1,500% for the month. Definitely the big winner by far. GT up 47%, XRP up 37%, Jasmy down 23%, Pengu, baby Pengu down 30%, Pepe down 30%. Over at our crypto market cap, we have Bitcoin still above 2 trillion at 2 trillion and 4.5 million. Ethereum at 382 billion. XRP 173 billion. Solana down about 10 billion from the other day, 114 billion. Doge at 48.5 billion. Cardano 32 billion, and Tron at 21 billion to wrap up the top 10. Our crypto market cap, total market cap today is at 3.4 trillion. Bitcoin is gaining ground on the rest of the shit coins. Bitcoin over 59% dominance right now. Ethereum holding steady at 11.27%. XRP also steady, 5.08% of the total crypto market. And Solana also steady at 3.3%. Currently, we are in 71 of greed. Yesterday it was a 73 greed, and last week a 76 in our crypto fear and greed index. And we have approximately 1,168 days left until the next Bitcoin halving in 2028, with 169,004 blocks left to mint, and until the year 2140, where the last block is created, we have 1,184,388 Bitcoins left to mine. Let's get into our total company asset worldwide by market cap. We have gold at 18.5 trillion, Nvidia 3.5 trillion, Apple 3.35 trillion, Microsoft 3.3, Amazon 2.469, Google 2.460, only 9 billion behind Amazon. Bitcoin at 2 trillion even. Saudi Aramco 1.8 trillion, I should say. Silver 1.7 trillion. Meta and Tesla to wrap up the top 11. And you can currently get 994 Satoshis for one fiat US dollar. And we flipped into 36 trillion. We flipped into the 400 billion range in the U.S. national debt. 36 trillion, 402 billion, and 54 million, which equals 107,023 dollars per citizen and 323,046 per U.S. taxpayer. So, bit of a letdown on the Bitcoin front today, but definitely a buy the dip opportunity. I would recommend a dollar cost average type strategy for everybody. And I also suggest you guys look at a very long-term strategy. We can't look at, is Bitcoin up today, Bitcoin going down tomorrow. If we look at it in a 8 to 10 year scenario, I can pretty much guarantee everybody's going to make money, and quite a bit of money. In fact, there's I've been scouring through some news articles and videos today, and some really smart people are talking about hundreds of millions in the price of Bitcoin, even up to $1 billion by the year 2040, 2035. So pretty interesting, and I kind of agree with them. I don't foresee the price of Bitcoin really going down much. We might see a bit of a pullback at the when this cycle peak kind of is complete, which is generally around toward the end of the year after the halving year. So that would be, in this case, 2025. And normally we're talking about October type time, October to beginning of November. We can illustrate that by getting into our trading view, and we can see here the trend is, the halving is this vertical blue line. At the price of the halving, at the time of the halving, the price is generally pretty low, stagnant from the previous halving. And then within about a year and a half, there's quite a pump. And I anticipate seeing a similar kind of trajectory in this halving cycle. Of course, there's the ups and downs. We've got the green candles. This is probably around November time, where we saw the biggest gains in Bitcoin history. And then there was a bit of a dump. And then we saw a bit of a green candle again. And it's been kind of going sideways for a bit. Currently, the bid and ask are right at 101,028 and 29. The cycle peak right now The all-time high is 109,356, but I do expect that by this time, which I've got pegged at the end of October, I wouldn't be surprised to see the price, according to my prediction, between 221 and $380,000. And if we go back to the previous cycle, we'll see here in January, you see the date down below, January 21st, pretty much exactly where we are now, is where we really started to see some big green candles, and we, pumped it all the way up to 60,000, then followed by a dip to 31,000, sideways a bit, and then finally the highest cycle peak, which ended up to be 69,000 in the 2020 halving cycle. So I expect we're going to see kind of a double peak the way we did last time. So almost from this date here, January 2021, which we're in right now, we see that this price just went, parabolic from this point on till around March, April. Then it tanked down to, in like June, July, and then we saw the second peak after that. So still, you're still early, guys. Don't think you missed the boat. It's almost like, a guy who bought Bitcoin at, 100,000, or sorry, at $1,000 thought, oh man, I overpaid for my Bitcoin. The guy who bought it for $100 probably thought, oh, I overpaid for my Bitcoin. The guy who bought it for 50 grand, oh, I overpaid for my Bitcoin. And, they buy and they sell and they buy and they sell. And that's when you lose. The savvy investors buy and hold. And I think in this situation, unless you're Warren Buffett, and I know you're not because Warren Buffett doesn't watch my show, your strategy, a solid strategy, is a long-term hold. You don't need to think about it. You don't need to jump in, jump out. Don't worry about short-term gains, short-term losses. Certainly, if you need the money and you have to sell some Bitcoin, go ahead and sell some Bitcoin. But I would suggest keep 80% of your Bitcoin throughout the cycles. Keep it for 8-10 years, and you'll be pleasantly surprised. There used to be a time when, 100 or 1,000 Bitcoins would buy a house. Then it was 100. Then it was 50. Now it's, 5-6 Bitcoins will buy you a house. And, in 10 years' time, 0.1 might buy you a house. So just hodl. The number one rule in Bitcoin is never sell your Bitcoin. So follow that strategy and you should definitely do pretty well. Let's go into our stories for today. Michael Saylor signals impending purchase as BTC consolidates around 104,000. According to Saylor Tracker, MicroStrategy is up more than 65% on his Bitcoin investment with an unrealized gain of over $19 billion. Not bad. MicroStrategy co-founder Michael Saylor posted the Bitcoin tracker for the 12th consecutive week, signaling an impending Bitcoin purchase on January 27th, tomorrow, Monday. The company's most recent purchase of 11,000 Bitcoin occurred on January 21st at an average price of 101,000 per coin. According to Saylor Tracker, MicroStrategy currently holds 461,000 Bitcoins valued at approximately $48.5 billion, surpassing the holdings of the United States government. MicroStrategy continues to accumulate Bitcoin despite a pullback from recent all-time highs of 109,000 on January 20th, after President Trump signaled the potential inclusion of other digital assets in the United States Strategic Reserve. On the same day as the announcement, the Bitcoin price fell from a daily high of 106 to a low of 101. The executive order drew mixed reactions from the crypto community, with some arguing that President Trump had kept his promise to the crypto industry. However, Bitcoin maximalists slammed the potential inclusion of other digital assets in the U.S. Strategic Reserve. Trump has nothing to do with Bitcoin, but he can destroy America by embracing shitcoins. Bitcoin evangelist Max Kaiser wrote in a January 26 X post. The biggest obstacle for the strategic Bitcoin reserve is not the Fed, Treasury banks, or Elizabeth Warren. It's Ripple and XRP, Pierre Rochard, the vice president of research at mining company Riot Platforms, argued. Rochard accused Ripple of aggressively lobbying the U.S. government to establish a digital asset reserve comprised of many different altcoins as opposed to a Bitcoin strategic reserve. Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse later confirmed the lobbying efforts, but said that any digital asset reserve would also include Bitcoin. It can't not include Bitcoin, realistically. Bitcoin traders currently see limited short-term upside due to a potential policy shift from a purely Bitcoin strategic reserve to a more diverse crypto reserve, which may include inflationary assets. You see, so there is a study, 180 days is what Trump's executive order has given to investigate the validity of creating a Bitcoin strategic reserve or a crypto strategic reserve. So when they come back, in less than 180 days with their findings, most certainly I'd be shocked if they came back and with anything other than, yes, I think we should put our money in Bitcoin, because all the other coins, there's such a big supply that they're not going to help the U.S. pay off their national debt. It's just going to be like pegging them to another U.S. dollar. It's just not advantageous in any way. So I feel like they're going to come back with a strategy of making Bitcoin the strategic reserve. This additionally gives the U.S. government and everybody else, and you and me, some time to buy Bitcoin kind of at a bit of a lower price before this huge announcement comes out and the thing goes flying. I think they're doing this on purpose to keep the price of Bitcoin a little low so it's affordable for the U.S. and for, any other nation state. They're all in cahoots, guys. Make no mistake. Let's get into our next story of the day. Will SAB 121 Abolition allow banks to hold Bitcoin? El Salvador's Bitcoin Office Director Stacy Herbert says that the abolition of SAB 121 signals the establishment of Bitcoin banks. Donald Trump's crypto policies have ignited the sense of optimism within the industry, hinting at a new era of growth and innovation. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission's decision to rescind the SAB 121 has further fueled confidence. Experts hope that the abolition of SAB 121 will pave the way for the establishment of Bitcoin banks. Notably, Stacy Herbert, director of El Salvador's Bitcoin Office, has expressed hopefulness about banks holding Bitcoin. Her statement reflects a general excitement surrounding the integration of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies into the U.S. banking industry. SAB 121 rescission green lights Bitcoin banking. In a recent X post, Stacy Herbert, the director of Bitcoin Office El Salvador, commented on the potential acceptance of Bitcoin in financial institutions. While her optimism is mainly driven by the SEC's recent abolition of SAB 121, Herbert said Bitcoin banks are coming. Indeed, I think it's inevitable. Herbert's post came in a response to MicroStrategy's founder Michael Saylor's thread on the withdrawal of SAB 121. She emphasized that the benefits of Bitcoin banks, suggesting that integrating Bitcoin into traditional banking could potentially boost investments. Yes, and they would boost the bank's bottom line too. SEC withdraws SAB 121, releases SAB 122. In a phenomenal development, the U.S. SEC withdrew Staff Accounting Bulletin number 121 and released Staff Accounting Bulletin 122, while SAB 121 restricts the bank's custody of cryptocurrencies. SAB 122 reverses the rule that forced entities to log a liability when protecting client crypto assets. SEC Commissioner Hester Pierce, who led the newly formed Crypto Task Force, responded to the SAB 121 abolition with an ex post that read, "Bye bye SAB 121, it's not been fun." Trump government fights Operation Choke Point 2.0. Biden's administration has been accused of stifling the crypto industry by pressuring banks to sever ties with crypto businesses, a move critics have dubbed Operation Choke Point 2.0. Coinbase CEO previously said that the Biden government was trying to kill the entire crypto ecosystem. The SEC's SAB 121 was also such a move that stifled the crypto economy. However, the U.S. lawmakers have recently launched investigations into the matter, examining the government's regulatory overreach, while many, including Brian Armstrong, Hayden Adams, and Paul Grewal, have openly raised voices against Operation Choke Point 2.0. The U.S. Oversight Committee pledged to address the issue. Trump's executive order that focuses on crypto has ushered in a new era of crypto markets in the U.S. Recently, the president signed an executive order to develop a national digital asset stockpile, sparking community enthusiasm. These policy shifts, especially the abolition of the controversial SAB 121, signal the emergence of Bitcoin banks. In anticipation of the U.S. banking industry's adoption of crypto, Draper University founder Tim Draper stated, "Goodbye, sad SAB 121. We welcome banks to the new world of Bitcoin. Banks don't have to pretend that the dollar is better anymore." Moreover, the Bank of America CEO Brian Moynihan assured that the U.S. banking industry would embrace cryptocurrencies upon regulatory approval, has bolstered hopes for the mainstream adoption. Circle CEO Jeremy Allaire also remains bullish on the financial institutions endorsing digital assets. So good news all around. SAB 121 out, and it's going to be actually not too long before we start seeing banks accept Bitcoin and holding it on people's behalf without needing to put it as a liability in their accounting books. Into our next story of the day, 3 exciting expert Bitcoin price predictions for 2025. Both Washington, D.C. and Manhattan's Wall Street are absolutely craven in their appetites for Bitcoin as institutions pursue hodling with a sudden urgency. Here are 3 BTC price predictions for 2025. Bitcoin's price has been on a spectacular run for the past few months, going from under 70 grand to almost 110 to break its previous all-time high and mark a new one well within 6-digit territory. The micro scale has also turned positive as the asset recovered its 30-day percentage gain or loss to above 6% at the end of the week. The world's most prominent cryptocurrency is trading at nearly double its price 6 months ago. Furthermore, it can be had or sold for more than 100% of its exchange rate 12 months ago. BTC experts remain overwhelmingly bullish, but most Bitcoin experts surveying the market conditions for blockchain assets today are very bullish on currency's prospects for other extended leg up the chart over the coming months in 2025. Some of the main reasons for the strong forward sentiment. First, there's Donald Trump's re-election, a new crypto-friendly SEC chair, and plans in Congress to appropriate U.S. tax dollars to buy and hold Bitcoin in a strategic national reserve. Then, there's Bitcoin's enormous demand, minor network participation, powerful use cases, limited currency supply, and the bullish phase of its 4-year supply cycle. Lastly, there is the rapidly expanding U.S. dollar supply under a low interest rate regime, 4 years of record-setting U.S. budget deficits ahead, and economic and geopolitical uncertainty. So we've covered this before. As much as Trump is going to do for the country, but he wants to bring everything back to the U.S. in terms of manufacturing. So in order to do that, he's going to have to up the debt ceiling by quite a bit. I've heard prediction about $5 trillion. So once the money printer starts to go boom, the dollar's worth less, your earning power is less, and Bitcoin conversely is going to right away go more. The U.S. and world fiat money debasement will continue, and people are going to go elsewhere as a hedge against fiat currency debasement. And no better place than the old biddy to go as a hedge against the fiat currency reduction in buying power. It's the anti-inflation. It's basically, they print money, it'll cause inflation, because if right now a dollar can buy a loaf of bread, which you can't, but let's just say hypothetically speaking, and they print a bunch more money, then next year, that same bread will cost you $1.10. So in essence, it is inflation, but ultimately it's money debasement, and that's what's going on. And it's going to continue, and it's never going to stop, folks. It's just that is the way this fiat currency around the world has been developed, falsely, quite honestly. But that's kind of where we're at. It's been around for about 100 and just over 100 years. This current method of printing money when needed, and mostly spending money. It's a spending. The more they spend, the more they need to buy, create more dollars, and the cycle just continues. Let's get back into the price predictions here. 2025 expert price predictions for Bitcoin. Aquinas Wealth Advisors prediction 133,000. According to Christopher McHannon, CEO of Aquinas Wealth Advisors and author of Faithful Finances, Bitcoin's price will top 130,000 this year. McHannon's is the lowest of the three forward target for Bitcoin in 2025. He argues that institutional adoption of cryptocurrencies will make the numbers go up. That's not up that much. Motley Fool, his prediction, 200,000. According to a cryptocurrency analyst at the popular investment website Motley Fool, 200,000 BTC is not only possible but also fairly probable. He's tracking Bitcoin's steep historical trend line, new investors, especially globally, as well as governments and companies joining the blockchain race. Now, my prediction, and this is not advice, financial advice, but my personal prediction is we are going to go back into this parabolic climb right here, and by the time April comes around, our Bitcoin is going to be worth $200,000 per coin. I would say double what we are now, so 210 to 220,000. And then going into a cycle peak, we're probably going to hit this, 275 to 300. It was similar here. We hit, 60,000 and then 69,000, the second peak. So I think it's going to be similar, somewhere around this 3.5 to 5x from the halving price, which is, it seems to get less and less, and I'm not surprised, because if people are going to start using this as a currency one day, historically, a currency is not used if it's so volatile. If there's, the price is going up and down and up and down, no one's going to use it as currency. If you notice your fiat, it pretty much stays steady. It might go up 0.5%, 1% a day max. If something drastic happens, maybe 2 or 3%, but very steady. And that's how people want their money. So before Bitcoin starts to get used as an actual currency, this is going to level off. And I anticipate that the fluctuations in price will continue to level off as the halving cycles continue. So we had 19x the first halving, then we had 8x price increase, then we had 7x. So I expect 3.5, 6x, then 2028 maybe 4x, 2x to 4x, then 1. And by the time we get to 2050, let's say, the price of Bitcoin is probably going to be pretty steady. I've seen predictions of, again, going into the hundreds of millions. Even me, the other day on the show, I went through a scenario and kind of a way out for the U.S. government to pay off their U.S. debt, and that would basically be hold 1 million Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin goes to 36 million, and then 36 million times 1 million Bitcoins comes up with their $36 trillion debt they paid off, and finished. Let's get into BlackRock's prediction. See, BlackRock, who is Larry Fink, who's a much bigger asset manager than, I don't know who Motley Fool is or Aquinas Wealth, but then we've got BlackRock's prediction at 700,000. Meanwhile, all of the current expert Bitcoin price predictions, BlackRock CEO Larry Fink stands out most. The Wall Street executive warns Bitcoin's price could rocket to $700,000 this year. The rocket fuel? Fink argues his math works out if in a number of large hedge funds begin to allocate 2 to 5% of their holdings in Bitcoin. And I agree with that. There's also nation states like the U.S., like some of the Middle Eastern countries, the UAE, are looking to put some money into Bitcoin. And I think just by announcing they're going to put the money into Bitcoin, I could definitely see the price skyrocketing just from the announcement, and not even the actual money going into it. Although I do believe they're already putting money into it, both the U.S., the UAE, and many countries around the world, kind of on the low, so nobody knows, so the price stays at a moderate price before they announce everything. They'll buy it up, then they'll announce, we currently have bought 1 million Bitcoin, and then the price is going to skyrocket. Let's get into our next segment, Ask AI. And today, we're going to ask AI to give us a price prediction for XRP. So, our prompt today is for both Grok and Chat GPT, which we have here side by side. Our prompt is, hypothetically, what will be the price of XRP in this current halving cycle of 2024 to 2028? I am looking for the price as of October 25, 2025, hypothetically. And so I've put the exact same thing into both Grok and Chat GPT, and I'm going to have this prompt in the show notes as well. So let's hit enter and see what they come back with. And let's get these a little bigger so we can read a bit. And they're both very quickly coming back with some information. And let's get into the summaries. So, optimistic, moderate, conservative, and then they've got the summaries down here. Low estimate, 84 cents. Average estimate, 222 to 352. High estimate could reach to $4.02 or beyond in the most optimistic scenario. And if we go back to the actual price of XRP currently, the current price is exactly $2.98. So this, to me, even the high estimate, is a very, very bearish. I expect that the price is going to go up about 3x from here. So I'm looking at $10 myself. So let's see what Chat GPT says. Scenario 1, bullish market post-halving, strong growth. Moderate growth is scenario 2, and bearish is scenario 3. In conclusion, so let's talk firstly, let's go to the bullish market post-halving, strong growth. Key factors: Bitcoin and the broader crypto market experience a strong post-halving rally. Historically happens 12 to 18 months after the halving. Yep, XRP sees increasing adoption via RippleNet and on-demand liquidity, with financial institutions integrating into their payment systems. Resolution of Ripple's legal battle with the SEC boosts confidence and removes barriers to XRP's adoption in the U.S. General bullish sentiment in the crypto market, increasing a utility of XRP in decentralized finance and tokenization use cases. I also want to add something it doesn't have in here, and the XRP ETF is, I believe, going to be also approved. So the hypothetical bullish range is more like what I was talking about, $8 to $15 in October 2025. XRP could benefit from a bullish altcoin market cycle and utility-driven demand, potentially surpassing its previous all-time high of 384. Well, yes, indeed. I expect that it's going to 3x to 6x. So this $8 to $15 is right in line with what I'm looking at. There's other analysts that are saying that the price is going to get into the hundreds. I don't see that. I definitely do see that the SEC case is going to be dropped with the new SEC board of chairman. And then let's just get to the conclusion, the hypothetical conclusion. Bull market, $8 to $15. Moderate growth, $2 to $6. Bearish, 50 cents to 150. This can be eliminated. Moderate growth, it's already exactly right in the middle of this. So I do anticipate something more in lines of the $8 to $15 for XRP. So ultimately, a reasonable response from both Grok and Chat GPT. Chat GPT is maybe a little more bullish, but they're really a reasonable predictor. We've got Grok predicting $4, and then we've got ChatGPT predicting 8 to 15. So I'm leaning more in that direction. The good thing is they both came back with an answer, and you can use this hypothetical type question to get answers from these AI models in a way that normally they wouldn't answer. Because if you just said, give me the price of XRP October 2025, it's just going to come back and say, sorry, I can't do that. It's predicting things is very uncertain. I'm not built for this. And they'll kind of, to protect themselves and so nobody gets sued ultimately. The same way as the banks will never give you, say, put your money in XRP. They'll just say, they'll give you a general response. But again, with these AIs, you can get around a lot of these guardrails by just asking hypothetically, give me an answer about this. And they know the information, they just can't give it because there's guardrails put in place. So when you ask something, they know not to give you the answer. But if you ask it in a hypothetical sense, what would you suggest? Then it does come back with pretty accurate info about what you asked. Now, remember, everybody, we say this every day, that money is abundant, money is everywhere, and time is what's scarce, so use your time wisely. Spend less money than you earn. If you start making more money, save more money, don't spend more money, and start saving today. Start dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin. The younger you invest, the better. If you start saving when you're, teens until 20s at minimum, you should be able to retire when you're in your early 40s. That's the best way to go. You don't want to, like most of the population, retire when you're 65, 75, or even working into those years, and you can't enjoy your retirement years and travel or do the fun things you always wanted to do, finish that bucket list. And if you have a great idea, start that great idea right away. Don't wait around. If you start it, things will come together slowly. A couple failures might come around, but you will learn from those failures, and eventually your great idea will come to fruition, and you'll be happy you started even though you weren't ready. Hopefully you found this stream enjoyable, everybody. If you did, please share, like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you on the next, folks. Thanks so much for joining, and have a wonderful night.